So man, I have a lot of questions. I don't even know where to start, but let's just going right now. Is there any fights? Is there any fights that you're looking at? Any fights that are official for your next one?
Yeah, the next one's Perth UFC 221, and I think it's a Russian guy. I think his name's Safarov. I don't know. But yeah, I just booked that in. They told me they had a fight for me. I didn't really ask who it was. I just wanted to get back in there, so I didn't care who it was again. I'm light heavyweight. So I'm one below heavyweight, so I'm a little bit faster than the heavyweight. But bringing to the division, man. Just I think a breath of fresh air. I think everyone's a little bit too serious for me when it comes to fighting. But I believe I'm one of the few people coming through that's the sort of next generation, if you know what I mean. Like, I've been training since I was a kid. I'm a lifelong martial artist, so I'm sort of that, like, in that generation where we've been training our whole life as mixed martial artists. We didn't just fall upon it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's crazy for you because like you know, you're jumping in this division, and there's so many. There's so many things going on in the light heavyweight division. Like, I think there's a daily thing of these new events that are coming on. First, you know, this whole John Jones fiasco. Now you have this Ozdemir thing, you know, and everything is just crazy. How do you feel about these news coming up?
Well, what happened with Ozdemir? I missed that one.
Oh, well, Ozdemir apparently was charged with battery assault at a bar. So
what?
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, apparently I don't know exactly if the bail is or anything, but those are the rumors that he was charged with battery, and apparently it just it was a crazy incident. We don't know what's going to happen with him, if there's any suspension or what's going on, but so far we might not see him fight in a while, and I think that's been something going on in this light heavyweight division. These guys are just
just drop it out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's crazy. Like, I'm sure like it happens in some of the other divisions. Obviously, not nowhere near as much, but we already have such a small division. So when stuff like this happens, it just throws everything out of whack. Like, obviously devastated when you hear some of these fighters who have big names as well. When it happens to them, but man, that's surprising to hear.
Yeah, and I made a quick mistake saying heavyweight because sometimes when you saw the first time I actually saw you, I saw you fight Khalil Roundtree, and man, it's crazy that, like, I think the mistake is pretty common because when we look at you, man, you're big enough to be a heavyweight, but in reality, man, you have that speed of a middleweight, but you're fighting at light heavyweight. So it's a crazy distinction of you fighting. And man, this light heavyweight division, like I said, you know, this John Jones pullout, Ozdemir, and he's ranked number 2. You have, you know, Glover Teixeira who lost, Jimmy Manuel who lost, Mauricio Rua is obviously a legend, but you know, is he coming up? And you have that beautiful opening to just, you know, skip some steps and be right up there in title contention. What is your goal? Is there any guys that, you know, you see yourself main eventing, you know, fighting against in the next year or two?
Yeah, well, exactly. You've just put the time frame there for me. I've already spoken with my team and stuff like that, and because that, like you said, the division is thin. I had those 2 wins, and it jumped me right through the ranks really quickly. So as good as it is to go up the ranks, I'm very inexperienced in my career still. I've only had 8 pro fights now, so I'm still learning as I go. So, like you said, I've made my plans for over the next 2 years, not just because, like with Latifi, you could see, I can hold my own with those guys, but it's the little mistakes that I'm not making that's showing in the experience. So before I jump into it with those big dogs, I just wanted to make sure that I'm getting stuff right. But yeah, I do see in the next year or two making a real run for it. But I just want to make sure everything's in place and I'm ticking the right boxes before I just jump in the deep end and mess myself up early.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for you, I think that Latifi fight, I think it was, even though you came out of a loss, I think it was probably the best thing for your career, man. Like, let's be honest. You have these guys who, they go undefeated, they go close to the belt and then they lose. They never take a step back. They see where they could improve and then go at it. For you, just, and everyone was looking at you. Everyone was looking at you saying, this is a new guy. This is the fresh meat. This is a prospect and a potential champion. And that loss was a setback, but this could be, unlike for people in the division, I think it's just bad news, because now you could be going on a sort of demolition derby and just knocking these guys out, because, like, let's be honest, I'm not just saying it, because you're on the show, and I wanted you on the show for a while just to say, but man, you're better than a lot of these guys on this ranking, man, and I see a potential a beautiful fight, man, against you and Jimmy Manoa next year. I could see that main event.
Yeah, nice. No, I definitely agree. I'm trying not to look too far past this fight coming up, but yeah, that's the plan. It's you're pretty much on the hitting the nail on the head. Man, like you said, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me. I had that Latifi loss after my last wins. You don't think you're doing anything wrong, so it's hard to go back to training and really change much in the game plan or in your training. But after the loss, that was the first thing I did. I got home and I went through everything, what I need to fix. I went back to basics, and yeah, it's been really good. I've got a boxing coach, kickboxing coach, wrestling coach, so really concentrating on upskilling myself rather than just sitting around and just doing MMA training, as they would say.
Yeah, and then you came from Australia, and I don't know if this is just coincidence, but the past month, like, I've been talking. I spoke with John Wei Parr, man, and you Australians, you guys are some bad motherfuckers, man. I'm not gonna lie. You guys are some crazy. You guys have some crazy fighters right there. So you have all these killers in Australia. Who are you training with? Are you training with Mark Hunt, John Wei Parr? Like, who is your team? Any guys that are helping you with your improvement?
Yeah, not at the moment. We've been trying to line it up with Rob Whittaker for a while, but just injuries have set it apart. But I train a lot with my brother-in-law. I don't know if you saw on the last week.
Oh man, I reposted that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was your brother-in-law. I know you guys have similar tattoos.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he was your brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law. So I train a lot with him. So that's pretty much one of my main training partners. But other than that, Australia is such a big place that like we don't really train with a lot of the other guys.
Well, then, like I said, man, Australia is some crazy dudes going on. You guys are just, I don't know, this fighter DNA is like, for you, like, how did you get into fighting? Maybe is it the Australian culture of mixed martial arts? Like, what's your story? How did you get into this?
Yeah, my dad has been doing martial arts since he was a kid, and he introduced it to me when I was a kid. So I was probably at 4 or 5 doing Japanese jiu-jitsu, kempo karate, then went from doing jiu-jitsu and just amateur boxing, and that was pretty much the progression to MMA. But he owned King of the Cage in Australia and had some of the first cage fights in Australia, some of the first cage fights over here. So that's how we all got into it. He had James Tahuna training with him, Tony Vanello, so it was an easy progression for me to get into MMA.
Oh man, because like I said, it's just a remarkable thing. Like I said, you're one of these new guys. I think you have that. I think you have that X factor that a lot of guys need, because you're in the UFC already. That's a remarkable thing. You're a fighter. You're in UFC. That's great. But there's 2 routes you could go to. You could just be a good UFC fighter, or you could be the next big thing. And man, you have that that potential. You know, you finish fights. You got that look that just if anyone like comes across you wrong, it's to be a dangerous night for you. Like all your fights, man. But you know, besides the Latifi fight, you know, submission, rear naked choke, guillotine, KOs by elbows. You know, you're just it's just a crazy thing how you could balance, you know, your submission game and your striking game. And I guess go on to my next question. Is there anything that you want to polish up? You know, you have a fight at 222. It's you already got that fight going on. Is there a specific area where you want to, you know, polish up your technique?
Yeah. So this while I've been this off season, I've been doing non-stop footwork with boxing coach, with one of my boxing coaches, and just making sure that I was getting my hands going. I was a little bit too hesitant in the Latifi fight, throwing my hands, and I think just because we had a game plan, he did it differently to what I thought, and then I stopped throwing my hands. So that's a big part of my game. I use my hands to set up a lot of stuff, so I had to get them going again.
Yeah, that's going to help tremendously. And just to point out, just got information that Ozdemir, his bail was reportedly set at $10,000,
yep.
So he's out. He's out with that, but we don't know exactly what the UFC will do. So, like I said, it's your division, man. It's crazy, and you got it's wide open. And Daniel Cormier again remains the light heavyweight king. Do you see, you know, obviously you want to be the title, and it looks like that Daniel Cormier might have that belt for a while, maybe as long as until you possibly fight him. Is he the guy that you know you're aiming for? Is it DC? You know, obviously you're thinking about your next opponent. Is DC always the guy behind you, knowing that if you're going to win the belt, it's to be off him?
I don't know. I'd like to. He's I actually looked up to him for a long time. He's a good champ, man. But I don't know if he'll stay in light heavyweight. To be honest, for as long as it's going to be, I'll be there 2 years. I'll be surprised if he's still there at light heavyweight. But yeah, if that's the case, then so be it. But like I said, he's a good champion, and you can't even say what's going to happen with the division in the next 3 weeks, let alone in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think your division is just every day there's something new. You know, like, you know, God forbid, maybe you know, who knows, tomorrow Jimmy Manoa gets he gets arrested for something. You don't know. Your division is just it could go either way. But do you plan on staying light heavyweight? You know, you talk about DC maybe not staying in that division. Is light heavyweight your home, or like I did a mistake earlier because you could probably have a couple of fights in heavyweight? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Nah, not once. Not at all. Light heavyweight's like the perfect weight for me. I hate weight cutting, so middleweight would never be an option. And I said probably my heaviest is about 101 kilos. So I wouldn't ever see myself going up to heavyweight. It's just way too heavy for me.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of guys there, but I honestly, like I said, man, I think even if you went into heavyweight, there's a couple of guys that I think that you can do some beatdowns, man. It's crazy in that division too. But hey, light heavyweight's your home, man. Get that crown. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And another thing I wanted to mention, you know, I talked to a lot of fighters, a lot of analysts too about this. It's you know, the trash talking in fighting. Obviously, I think a goal for a fighter is obviously be a champion, but also get a paycheck too. And to get a paycheck, you need fighters to come buy pay-per-views or whatnot, whenever you're fighting. How do you feel about, you know, the shit talking in MMA?
Man, I try and beat it with positivity. Like my big thing is just like, I don't know, you obviously see me walk in. I'm always happy. I'm dancing. Paul Craig, he tried to do it. He tried to talk shit to me and get up in my face, and I just laugh about it. Like it's just not my game, and I feel like you sort of lose a bit of credibility if you go in there and you do something that's not you with the fans. So even though the fans, they want to see that, like I can talk shit back to someone if they hit like a nerve with me, and then like I actually like talking shit, or like with my brother-in-law on our podcast, we talk shit back and forth. But just purely talking shit to someone for no reason, it's never made sense to me. It's not my thing. So it works for Conor McGregor because that's who he is. I think fighters should just be who they are. Like, so many of these fighters have more personality than they show, but they just think that you need to do that talk shit thing to get the money. So I don't know. Unfortunately, so that's what also fans like, and because they want to see their fighter go angry at another fighter and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just not me. I'm not the type of person to just go up and start talking shit to someone.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, it goes back and forth. Like, you have a guy, like you said, Conor, perfect example, talks shit, and, he's fighting Floyd Mayweather. You have a guy, George St. Pierre, who doesn't talk anything, and look at him now. He's a middleweight champion. So you can look at it back, and forth, like you said. But there's another thing about you, man. Like, we were talking before about your look, persona. You got the tattoos. You're a finisher. But hey, man, you were at GQ, man. You were rocking a suit, man. You're at GQ. You're presenting an award. What's going on with that, man? What's going on with that? Explain.
Like I don't say no to many things. We have this short little bit of what was it, like our 15 minutes of fame. I don't plan on getting punched in my head for my whole life. So when opportunities arise and people ask me to do stuff, I'm willing to open up and just have a go at stuff. Like it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've done in a long time, presenting in front of a bunch of people who have been on TV every single day. So yeah, I like trying different stuff like that. So it's cool.
So like you think there'll be more opportunities with you and GQ? How did that come in contact? Because GQ usually, like with fighters, it's kind of rare when you get those that combination. Usually GQ likes that that other side, but they don't go to the world of mixed martial arts. How did the contact come across?
I'd have to double check, but I think it was through one of the contacts in the UFC. But they just they needed a presenter for Sportsman of the Year, who was a Australian guy, Jeff Horn. He won against Manny Pacquiao in the boxing. Yeah. So they asked me to present for that. So it was a last minute thing, and I was in full panic, sweating out the back because they gave me these palm cards. And everyone out the back was like, "Hey man, so you wrote your own speech?" And I was like, "We were supposed to write our own speech." Oh shit! Oh no, this is it. I'm done. I'm on stage, dripping sweat. So that ended up being all right.
Well, man, you look like a dime piece, man. I saw the suit. I'm like, is that Pedro, man? I'm like, all right, man. If you can pull it off, man, like you did it, man. You killed it on that one. And to Jeff Horn, you won that famous Manny Pacquiao fight, Australian guy, he's young, he's a young dude, and obviously whatever it is, the Canadians, Americans, guys, Australians, you guys always come together with your own. But let's like be honest. Let's cut the biasness. Did you watch the Pacquiao versus Horn fight? And if you did, who did you think won that?
I honestly only watched the highlights. Like I said, I'm a big Manny Pacquiao fan, man. So it was hard for me, but I'm also happy that Jeff Horn brought it into Australia. I couldn't tell you. I only watched the highlights, but I heard a lot of people were unhappy with the decision.
It was. I thought Pacquiao won that one, but hey, that's some situations. Same thing as boxing, as in MMA. Don't leave it to the judges. You could go.
Exactly.
It could go either way with that one, but just to say, it can't leave it to the judges. And you're doing a lot of things, man. And I'm honestly so so happy, and it was an honor, man, to have you on and to talk to you, because I was bragging a lot, when, like I said, when I saw you fight against Khalil Roundtree, I was telling people, my guys, this is the guy. This is a new breed, man. Like, and it was crazy too, because at the same time that, if I'm not mistaken, that was the same card as Whitaker versus Brunson, if I'm correct. Yeah, so that was, you have, you winning, you have Whitaker winning, and it's just this whole Australian thing, it was just the big crowd. And like you saw Connor, Connor bringing in the Irish fans, he's bringing Ireland.
Yeah.
And now, obviously Mark Hunt, they paved the way for Australians. Now you, Bobby Knuckles, you guys are carrying out this Australian thing. So I know that you're fighting, obviously, you want to make your title run, your championship, but how does that feel for you that, you've got you pretty much have a nation behind you?
Well, this is the thing. Australia is still, MMA is it's just not hitting just at the moment. It's like we have the loyal fans that have just always watched UFC, but the plan is, man, to get UFC into every household in Australia. Like, once that happens, I think it's going to be a full takeover for Australia. It's just that it's still a little bit frowned upon. I think in the next 5 years, it's really going to kick off here. Like the UFC bringing the UFC to Perth, that's another thing that's just going to make it huge. So we just, the cage ban's just been lifted at Perth. That's why we're having it over there. So it's big news. And
why do you think that it's a frowned upon thing in Australia for MMA?
It's just still got that sort of like cockfighting, blood fight stigma about it. Like people just can't get behind it. They're still the boxing fans. But once I think they really truly understand MMA and see that we're not just a bunch of Rawns getting in there and trying to rip each other's head off. Well, I guess sort of, but it's actually an intellectual fight and understand what's going on behind it and the wrestling aspect and everything. As well, wrestling's not very big in Australia, so it's hard for people to understand what's going on in the cage. So, yeah, once all that happens, I think it's going to be a real big thing for Australia.
Well, I think what you're doing, like this GQ, like what you did for GQ, I think that's a good start. And I don't know if you like you said it was like a UFC thing, but it's actually an amazing way to start out. Like you said, you're trying to get them to think differently, not because it's just human cockfighting, but if they see you, you're in a cage, you finish a guy, but then you're done. You put on a suit and you're at you're rocking the red carpet and you're there, and they see like, oh wait, wasn't this guy just fighting somebody else, with shorts, and now he's in a suit? Like,
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so like, do you think that like you getting into GQ, maybe into on more to TV, you think that will help out Australia?
Definitely. So just showing the other side of fighters, I think it's really good. That's why I want to try and keep doing little stuff like that.
Well, man, I know that you're a bit busy. You got a lot of things on your plate. UFC 222, man, excited. Like I've been telling everybody, Tyson Pedro, man, you're gonna be the next one. I'm telling you. I see you finishing the next one, and I don't know why this name keeps on coming, but this main event against you and Jimmy, I think I see it, man.
Yeah.
I think I see it. It's perfect. Don't you find it's a good belt?
I should be able to say you called it.
Hey, man, I hope it happens, because I see something. I see you finishing your next dude, and and just because the UFC, they're probably gonna give you maybe Corey Anderson, or they might hit you up with who knows, maybe OSP. That'd be something cool. But I think with the fans, you against Jimmy, Australia against England. Two guys going at it. I could see you knocking him out, and then, hey man, if DC wants to stay,
there you go.
You and DC, I see it, man. And once you're champion, you gotta come back on the show. When you're champion, you gotta come back on the show. Cause I'm predicting it. I'm predicting it, man.
You're
I've been
calling
telling
it now,
people.
so okay, I'll be back on.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually, we'll be talking to, for the fans there, I guess, is a little spoiler alert, but since Tyson gave us a little spoiler about his fight, I'm going to give the fans a new spoiler. We got Bobby Knuckles, man, coming in a couple of weeks, coming on the show. So, so we'll definitely be talking about you in Australia. But thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, I'm a big fan of yours.
All good.
And,
hopefully I'll be heading over to Canada again soon. I loved it.
Hey man, you gotta come to Montreal though. You can't be going to Edmonton, man. I know you're gonna say you had some fun in Edmonton. But Edmonton's cold, man. It's cold. There's maybe a couple other weird people. You gotta come to Montreal, man. You come to Montreal, trust me. Got the hookups.
Sweet, man. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. Man,
thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyson Pedro, the face, the new era of the UFC, future champion. Don't miss it, man. UFC 222. News will be posted out, but you guys heard it here first. So thank you, sir, and have a great day.
Appreciate it, brother.